Well, it's warmed up 3 degrees. Minus 30. Feels like minus 37. Unfortunately, we're not going to go out in the garage today. It's much too cold to heat it up. I turned off the furnace over Christmas. It's Boxing Day. I need to go to the grocery store, get some stuff. Let's see if the Jeep will start. It's never been plugged in, ever. But it's always been a trooper. Let's test out that AGM battery I just recently put in. Holy shit, it's cold in the Jeep. Oh yeah, oh, she stalled. God damn it, it's cold. Man, you can see your breath so easy, god damn it. The injectors are just dumping fuel in. 12.2 air fuel ratio. She's cold. You guys have probably seen it on the news and stuff, all these people claiming that you don't need to let your vehicle warm up in the winter time, that you can start it and go. It's pretty clear that those people who make those kind of statements don't live in a climate where it gets colder than minus 30. If you just start your vehicle at minus 30 and drive away, the amount of fuel you would burn would be insane. When it's this cold though, you gotta drive pretty slow at first, because if you have an automatic transmission, it shifts really slow, so it'll rev itself up, so you want to be careful. Also, people who have a manual transmission will tell you that when it's like minus 30, the transmission is really stiff. Tomcat, your human's back home. It's so cold outside. You're gonna have to take a dump in your litter box instead of going out. It's too cold for kitties. Yes, it is. Hey, with the blinds open, you can get some sun. It's not really shining on you. I am trying out this little solar panel. It is heavily shaded on this corner here. Sundial is somewhat aligned, but I'm just doing some testing with it to see how it would charge through the window. Tomcat's looking cold, so I put a little t-shirt as a blanket on him. Keep him warm. Alright, since it's been minus 30 all day, too cold to do fuck all, it's motherfucking beer time. I got some Industrial Ave IPA by Medicine Hat Brewing Company. I've been banging my head off the wall all day, last few days, trying to figure out how exactly I'm gonna get this done, make it work in the least amount of time. Need a man's beer for this. So there's numerous things which I have thought out and how I'm gonna make this happen, and I'm making this video because hopefully by the time it's uploaded, I will be finished that part of the project, and I could look back and think, you know, how I progressed from what I thought, from what actually happened. There's a lot of mistakes I made along the way. I'm figuring that out now. One being, I didn't drill holes through the hinges of the doors before I removed them, because it says instructions use that for lineup afterwards. I never even thought about that. It didn't even dawn on me. I should have not taken the car apart before cutting out the floor, because the fenders would have been aligned, and then I could have aligned the floor to the fenders. Secondly, I put the floor in, the new floor, tacked it together. Good thing I didn't weld it in, because I'm gonna have to split the floor, and then there's a couple things might have to do here. One of them is split the floor and then weld the floor as I build the car to make everything align. The second, so doing my research, it seems like the floor width should be 62 5/8. Plus or minus, I think it's 1/8 of an inch, around there. So we know by looking at the diagram is that the rocker, end of the rocker, has to line up with the front of the door. As far as the reference point right here, where the rocker ends, I don't know if it lines up with the seam that might end up there or not. I also know to mock up the fender, there's a bolt here, obviously the bolt in the corner where the rocker is, and then with the rad support that goes across, there'll be a bolt up top. And I think there's brackets and braces at the bottom, but all I need to do is, when the time comes, is to mock up the fender, both of them. Not necessarily bolt the hood up, but at least set the hood in place. And that way I could kind of fiddle things around. So what it's really going to come down to, and I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but speaking to you guys, I want to know what your opinion is. By the time hopefully this video is uploaded, I will have an answer, and hopefully this part will be done. But I want to know in the comments below, especially if you have experience, how you guys would go about doing this project. I did think about measuring the floor because it's 62 5/8, setting it out to that, tack welding it, and then build the car around that. Now, however, I don't know if my car was perfectly squared up beforehand, and that might, you know, bring up another can of worms. That way, this way, the passenger side is already bolted down. I could bust the tack welds out, going along the front of the seam, in the middle, around the hump, and at the back. And then since the rear one, or the driver's side, is still loose, I can slide it around, start putting that other door on, looking at it, kind of align it up, assemble the fenders, work from the driver's side, because I'm not replacing the quarter panel on the driver's side. I have to replace the quarter panel on the passenger side. So if I get everything aligned on the driver's side, theoretically I should be able to make the passenger side work, in theory. I know a lot of people have been asking me to do a two-door conversion. The biggest thing with the two-door conversion is the cost. So unless you have the doors complete glass, the rear side glass, the molding trims, and all that from a donor car, the cost is going to be pretty expensive, because you can actually buy a kit. There's a kit that you can buy to convert a four-door to a two-door, and it's $5,300 American, but the door itself doesn't come with glass. It's just a steel door, no hinges, no anything else. And ideally, a lot of people are going to disagree with this. A two-door car ideally is not what I'd want to build for the 57 Chevy if it was my dream car. My dream 57 Chevy is a four-door hardtop. Now I got a four-door post, which is going to allow me to molest the car, keep its looks, and people aren't really going to hate on it too much, because nothing in the end is going to be original at all. But if I had the chance to have a four-door hardtop, that would have been kick-ass. Anyways, I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna leave this video here, and I want to know what you guys think, how it should have went down. Hopefully by now it did go down and we're making more progress. Either that or the car just gonna end up getting crushed and I'll move on to something else. Anyways, if you guys have any questions or comments, post them below. Otherwise, I want to thank you guys for watching. This is some good beer.